We love to feature the Oklahoma Horticulture Society Garden Tour of Connoisseurs, and this year is sure to impress. We've got a great lineup of gardens here, and we're going to just get a sneak peek of a few of those on today's show. Mark your calendars for October 1st, but in the meantime, take a look at these gardens.
On our sneak peek sample of the Oklahoma Horticultural Society's Garden Tour for Connoisseurs, we will visit the home sweet home of Rich and Lynn Garofolo, Charlotte Angels curb appeal all around, and we will experience the sights and sounds of water at the home of David and Sheila Hall. Oklahoma Gardening is a production of the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the land grant mission of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University, dedicated to improving the quality of life of the citizens of Oklahoma through research-based information. Underwriting assistance is provided by TLC, Oklahoma's leading garden center, Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, Tulsa's source for great gardens, southwoodgardencenter.com. and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping to keep Oklahoma green and growing.
We are here at the home of Rich and Lynn Garofolo, and joining me is Roger Runge with Garden Design Associates, and we are looking at one of their homes here that's on the OHS Garden Tour of Connoisseurs, and this home is just beautiful.
Isn't it great?
You guys have been helping with this landscape for about 10 years now, correct?
Right.
And you've installed some beautiful trees. Can you tell us about this ash here?
This is the urbanite ash, and it's a great tree. I mean, it's a beautiful tree.
Yes, it is.
And really just no problems, no diseases, no pests here in Oklahoma. So it's a tree that we'd really like to see used a little bit more in Oklahoma City.
And it's got kind of a silvery underleaf, and so
right,
it's
so
nice
the wind,
seeing that contrast. Yeah.
Since wind is a constant in Oklahoma, plant a tree that takes advantage of that.
Excellent. So let's go around the corner here because we want to go to the backyard. It's like an amazing little secret garden back here.
It really is.
And
it
this is
up.
the OHS tour is an opportunity to get to see some of these secret gardens. So going through this, you know, this path is a beautiful tumbled stone path, and it just leads your eye right into this secret garden.
It just invites you in. The path draws you in, and it's not a clear shot. You see little glimpses of areas that you want to explore as you walk further in.
Mm-hmm. You have a nice blend of structure in the plants as well as some herbaceous plants. Can you kind of talk about the design here?
Well, a lot of it centers around a lot of native oaks that were here first. Mm-hmm. And of course they're deciduous, so a lot of evergreens were added. The magnolias give us year-round evergreen. A lot of boxwoods for evergreen. A lot of the hollies are evergreen, the arborvitaes. So there's a variety of shades of green, textures of green, different leaf sizes. There's shiny leaves, big leaves, little leaves, soft foliage. It really gives a year-round interest. So when the leaves fall on the trees, you still have a lot of green and you have a lot of structure.
And one of the things the homeowner wanted was to expand their living space or their entertainment space, correct?
Right. So we've got this great covered terrace here, and then this arbor was added later on with a grill. You can see it's just a great inviting spot to relax with friends and family. The roses and akebia vine keep it shady during the summer. The ceiling fan adds a little comfort to it as well.
It's a beautiful structure, and I can only imagine the entertainment that goes on out here. And of course, we always need water in a garden.
The sound, you can hear it from just about anywhere in the garden, and it really is relaxing. And the sound draws you in as well. You know, you want to find out where that sound is coming from.
I love this little ginkgo that you have here behind
Isn't that
it.
beautiful? It's a variety called Chi-Chi. And of course, ginkgos, the leaves are beautiful, and then when they turn yellow in the fall, it's just stunning.
Yes, yeah. You know what's neat about this is you've combined your natural oaks with some unique trees. I mean, you have a lot of Japanese maples, you have magnolias, and of course the ginkgo. As we go up in here to the woodland garden, I guess is what you would call it.
Right, romantic woodland garden.
Romantic. It's very formal. You've got a lot of trimmed boxwoods, but it's also mixed with some more loose plants.
Right, it is. And you know, really when you look around, there aren't that many unusual plants. A lot of them are pretty common that you see in a lot of gardens, but the way they've been placed and the way they've been worked into the landscape gives them some character and makes it a little different.
And I love the detail, you know, having some of the little finds, you know, when you're going through the garden, you have something to discover.
And this one's great because he's seen some life. He's kind of repaired. He's got some character and some age. There's some lichens starting to grow on top of him.
And we love that. And you've got some grapevines that they were kind of taken over.
There's still some growing, but they were getting a little too aggressive. But the grapevines themselves are such a beautiful structural element that even though they've been eliminated, the vine itself is still here to give us some visual structure.
That's something that you can't design.
No.
You just take advantage of it when it's here,
take advantage of it, yes.
And I love this little hiding spot. I believe they do their composting back there, and they have some
Every
leftover
gardener
stuff.
has to have a messy area, and Rich, being the handyman that he is, put this in so they can hide all the, the nuts and bolts of the garden that you don't want to see on a daily basis.
Because they are gardeners, so they're constantly pulling out their tools and that sort of stuff. Now, as we walk through here, we've got a lot of hostas and some hydrangeas. I love hydrangeas because you get so much bloom out of them.
You do, and you get interest. To me, they're interesting year-round.
Right.
I like them when they're bare and the sticks in the winter, especially when you have them backed with the evergreens of the hollies, the hollies and the boxwoods.
And the carria always has a nice display, even when it's later in the winter.
But it's so airy and so loose and airy. Kind of a real counterpoint to the clipped boxwoods.
Now, as we've come up here, we're on a different path. Again, it's a little bit looser feeling. It's got this crushed granite or screenings, which gives it a little bit more of a natural feel, like you're walking through the woods.
Right, but isn't even the sound of your footsteps on the crushed granite, isn't that a nice sound?
It's nice. And what I love about this garden is you don't know you're in a neighborhood.
Right.
You really, you've done well screening the neighbors and that sort of stuff. I mean, I could think
it really is a private oasis.
It is beautiful. So I love the diversity of plants that are in here. You see some that are very formal, you see some that are very loose, you see some that are the aster, which is typically kind of a prairie plant, but mixed with sedums and junipers. Can you speak to the variety that's in here?
Well, again, I mean, Rich and Lynn are gardeners, so they like to play with plants. They like to experiment with plants. One of my favorite plants that they've used is the Japanese roof iris. It's kind of unusual because it's a shade-loving iris, and it does have a beautiful bloom, but the foliage itself, that kind of arching, low foliage, is really, I think, the showstopper on that plant.
It makes a great texture throughout the season.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Roger, so much for sharing your design here in this garden. And I know that a lot of hard work has gone into this garden. It definitely shows.
Well, thank you.
Angel residence, and joining me is Mike Freeman with Red Valley Landscape and Construction. And you guys have been maintaining this landscape for about 3 years, is that correct?
Correct. We originally did the original installation back in 2012, and it's kind of just continued to grow into what you see here today.
And I have to say, it's a beautiful entrance to the home here. It's a little bit not your typical straight sidewalk coming in from the driveway. I love these pavers that you've used here.
We do quite a bit of paver, especially here in the Oklahoma market with the soil conditions and the earthquakes, and they're all done on gravel base, so you don't have to worry about the cracking as you typically do with concrete.
And you have those nice grass breaks in there too.
Yeah, so this design, we actually came in and wanted a nice clean look, so we kind of softened it up a little bit with some of the grass in between the joints. So we have zoysia between the pavers here, which kind of just softens it up and gives a nice clean approach right to the front of the house.
And you have each side of the house flanked with these Natchez crepe myrtles. Are they Natchez?
Natchez crepe myrtles, single trunks. So the homeowner kind of wants something a little more formal, but still some of the naturalness of the grasses and the daylilies, so it wasn't so structured and high maintenance.
Right.
So.
And you've got, I love this. I've never seen this done really with miscanthus grass, and you've got some, looks like the Mexican pebbles stacked around there.
So we did the Mexican beach pebbles with some gray decomposed granite, kind of fill in the joints so it prevents the weeds and the grass of popping up between the rocks. So it's just a different look, very clean. Very simple,
it's
elegant.
It's nice. It creates kind of columns almost coming into the entrance here. And you guys have worked a lot on the irrigation. So for instance, we have a pot right here on top of the mailbox, but that is connected to irrigation?
We do have drip irrigation, just like we do in flower pots. When we built the mailbox, we come in and we do the irrigation. So the homeowners aren't having to come out and hand water things. A lot of homeowners like the pots and things, but the watering, they leave on vacation in June, July, August, and they come back and all the plants are dead. So we irrigate all our pots at Red Valley.
Plus using yucca, I mean, that's kind of a hard place to plant on top of a mailbox. It's getting a lot of heat right there.
A lot of heat, a lot of sun, but they're very hardy. I like to use them as more of a focal point. And Homer kind of gave me the will here to kind of do as I see. And so we introduced those in a couple areas throughout the property. It's
very nice. Now, looking at some more of the hardscape that you guys have done, these are pavers actually on the driveway here?
Yes, these are a Bellegarde paver. It's Arbel, Mega Arbel, and it's bordered with Urbana. This particular color is called Brittany Beige. It's the most popular color that we do in the state of Oklahoma with the red soils. It helps hide a lot of those stains. So we use a lot of this. Probably about 70% of our jobs are done in this color scheme. But the nice thing about pavers is they don't crack. They don't have to, you don't have to do maintenance to them.
Unlike just stamped concrete or something like that.
Exactly. So stamped concrete looks great the first year or 2 years, and then eventually you get your cracks in there. Or pavers, whether it's, you go to sell the house 12 months down the road or 10 years down the road, it looks great.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see the backyard. Let's go take a look. Wow, what a beautiful oasis back here and a nice refreshing pool.
Definitely a backyard where you can relax, enjoy poolside while the kids are hanging by the fire pit, or you got the outdoor kitchen in this backyard as well. So
did you guys design all of this, or did you just come in and do the landscaping? A lot of times people will call a landscape company just for the landscaping.
Right. So Red Valley Landscape and Construction, we're a full service company where we can come in and do the design, the installation from pools, pavilions, structures, concrete, pavers, landscape irrigation, and lighting.
Okay, and that's important because it ties together so much, right?
Very important. Kind of takes a lot of stress off the homeowner, so they're not having to find a landscape guy, an irrigation guy, and a pool guy, and then they're not working together.
Right.
Kind of having one person see the big picture, it definitely makes the project design get implemented seamlessly.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a cohesive landscape that flows with the hardscape and the other usable spaces out here. I know a lot of times homeowners think if they have a yard that looks like this, it's high maintenance, but it seems like you have some plants that are fairly low maintenance back here.
Well, not all landscape has to be high maintenance. You can incorporate plant material here, such as the pink muley grasses and your miscanthus grasses and perennials that become low maintenance. While not every homeowner wants to be out here in the yard Saturday and Sunday.
They want to be in the pool, don't they?
Pool enjoying it. So that's where Red Valley, what we do is, one, we listen to the clients and see what they're looking for, and how do we kind of maximize the most color in their project to make sure that they get the most color year-round.
And you've got a lot of annual color under the trees here, but also you've got some perennial color with the altheas and the crossvine and the crepe myrtles as well.
Those, as well as daylily and the May night salvias, are some of our favorites.
And we've got a beautiful fire pit, it looks like, for those winter nights.
The homeowner's got a lot of grandchildren, so she wanted a place for all her grandchildren to be able to come out here and do s'mores for dessert, or when she entertains, be able to hang out fireside. So we went with a little bit larger one than normal. Makes room for about 12 to 14 people, so makes those cool evenings enjoyable.
Plenty of room to make s'mores and roast some hot dogs there. And another aspect that we can't forget about here is this beautiful arbor, which is not your traditional 4-post arbor. It's more of a linear shape, but it adds nice shade to the pool here.
Adds shade and kind of gives an architecture element to the backyard with a nice single beam trellis. We've planted wisteria vines on it, so as they continue to grow, you'll really see less and less of the arbor. We complemented it with some nice hanging baskets with seasonal color, as well as some landscape lighting, so in the evening time it's kind of all lit up and kind of highlights the focal points of the backyard.
And again, all of these pots are irrigated, correct? With
Correct.
Irrigation?
Yep.
Adding to the low maintenance factor again?
The low maintenance, kind of just set the irrigation controller and let it water itself.
What I have to mention here that I love about this is we're in a typical backyard, a new development, a fairly new development with new houses being built around here. So there's not a lot of trees, but you guys have installed quite a diversity of trees.
Correct. We came in, we installed about 16 trees in this backyard. One of the issues here was the roof lines. You walk out your back door and you see your neighbor's roof line or the kids next door in the trampoline. So here we tried to make it feel like there was no other houses nearby. So if they're entertaining, they're not having to see what's going on in the backyard previous.
Right. And the wind blowing through just kind of helps distract some of that noise as well.
It does, and we planted some nice native trees, the Oklahoma redbuds, pond cypress, the lacebark elms or ollie elms, and of course the desert willows, which are great for when the wind's blowing in Oklahoma. You get some of that swaying and kind of softens it up a little bit.
And you'll have a lot of winter interest with the bark from all of those trees as well.
That's one of my favorite things about the river birches in the wintertime. To me, the tree's more beautiful in the wintertime than during the summer and spring. So it's seeing that bark.
Well, I just love the combination of the hardscape and the softscape with all the different plants you've used here. Thank you for sharing your design with us.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
The Hall home, and joining me is Mike Lindsay with Lindscape Inc. out of Mustang, Oklahoma, and you guys have landscaped this yard, and I am just amazed by the beautiful water features that you have here. You've got a couple, and there's one drawing my eye over there.
Well, the owner really likes his water. What can I say? That was one request he had. He wanted as much water, as many waterfalls as possible on this property, so we tried to accommodate him.
Very nice, and it kind of drowns out some of that traffic noise that you get being in an urban environment as well. Can you talk about how involved it was to get all of these water features in here?
Well, we spent quite a bit of time on the drawing board and taking measurements and just deciding what we could get in the small space. It's a very heavily planted property, which that is what the Halls wanted, and we just let them know they're going to have to do a lot of maintenance to maintain this tight proximity, but so far so good. I've done real well.
Well, it's beautiful wonderful, your combination of some of your traditional plants that we see, but also the mix of annuals and perennials. You've got some tropicals, and how it goes from something in full sun to this, which is a very shady garden in here.
It is, and it's been a little problematic getting it all sorted out and getting the right mixture and the drainage and what have you, but I think we got there.
I mean, you almost feel like you're inside the house in this space, but
Oh, nice.
these plants seem to be doing quite well. This landscape's been in for 3 years?
4 years plus.
Okay.
So
So could you squeeze any more water features into this landscape?
there's one more spot, but I'm not going to mention it. We're going to keep that quiet.
Well, what do you got in the backyard? Can we go take a look at that?
Yes, absolutely. A little more water, a little more garden.
Wow, Mike, this landscape is spectacular.
Well, thank you.
You got a lot of water squeezed back here. I mean, could you have done anything more?
I don't think so. That was the owner's request, is he wanted lots of water, waterfalls, features, streams, whatever we could get fitted in. It would look nice, and here we are.
And it creates a nice privacy, so you don't see the golf course and stuff.
Exactly. Well, the way it lays out is we have our sunken living space. So when you're sitting or lounging, you have privacy from the golf course. But then when you're up and about, you still have your full view open. So it's kind of a double feature we work toward.
You're kind of using that borrowed view of the golf course. Then.
Absolutely.
So the pool was here, or was it not here?
The only thing in this entire garden that was existing was the shell of the pool.
Okay.
Only. Everything else was taken out. The outdoor living space, the concrete, front backyard, everything is new. This is a brand new garden. There's nothing existing.
Wow. And you definitely hear that sound of water. Now, anytime you have water, you got to have fire, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we've got a couple of fire pits, actually. We've got our large one here.
Yep, we have the fire trough here, so in the winter you sit back, you have a nice warm environment, and then there's 3 fire features on this waterfall, and there's another one on this kiddie pool as well.
I don't know that you could have squeezed anything more into this backyard, but it's absolutely fabulous.
I don't think I could have either, so.
Thank you for sharing your design with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
As you can see, there's some spectacular homes and gardens featured this year, and joining me is Hugh Stout, who is the president of the Oklahoma Horticulture Society. And Hugh, can you tell us a little bit more about your garden tour?
Well, as you can see, it's a wonderful tour, and you're going to see some wonderful gardens. We're so thankful for the homeowners and the landscape designers and all that opened them up for us.
So the garden tour of Connoisseurs is a regular annual garden tour. Why does the Oklahoma Horticulture Society host this?
Well, our whole lot in life is to promote horticulture. We do that through scholarships at a couple of schools, OSU and OSU OKC, to help horticulture students. And we have monthly meetings about just any topic, anyone that's interested in gardening whatsoever. We cover the gauntlet. I would also say that our membership, we have a lot of professionals, architects, designers, nurserymen, plantsmen, professors, but it's mostly just normal gardeners like myself, and you get to learn a lot from all these people. And I think that's what makes our tour so special, because we all are kind of a close-knit group, and we can bring these gardens together. But yeah, the money is just to promote horticulture, basically.
Being a part of those meetings, it's a great interface between the professional world of horticulture and also backyard gardeners.
Exactly, and you can actually teach those professionals a thing or two, which is fun.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have only provided a small sample of the beautiful gardens that you will experience on this year's tour. You can find more information about the tour, descriptions of the homes, and ticket locations on the Oklahoma Horticultural Society's website, ok-hort.org. There are lots of great horticultural events this time of year. Be sure and consider these activities when you're making your plans for the weeks ahead. Next week on Oklahoma Gardening, we travel to the OSU Mingo Valley Research Station in Bixby, Oklahoma. Tulsa County Extension educator Kenda Baker takes us on a tour of the fruit variety trials. Southeast Area Horticulture Specialist Jim Schreffler gives us an update on a study using row covers to protect squash plants. And Extension Turfgrass Specialist Justin Moss shows us a research project looking at drought tolerance in turfgrass varieties. So join us then for more TV You'll Grow to Love. To find out more information about show topics, as well as recipes, videos, articles, fact sheets, and other resources, including a directory of local extension offices, be sure and visit our website, oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. And we always have great information, answers to questions, photos, and gardening discussions on your favorite social media as well. Join in on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find this entire show and other recent shows, as well as individual segments on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And tune in to our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel to watch segments from previous hosts. Oklahoma Gardening is produced by the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University. The Botanic Garden at OSU is home to our studio gardens, and we encourage you to come visit this beautiful Stillwater jewel. We wish to thank our generous underwriters, TLC Garden Centers, Southwood Landscape and Garden Center, and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry. Additional support is provided by Pond Pro Shops, Greenleaf Nursery and the Garden Debut Plants, and the Oklahoma Horticultural Society. We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.